Tommy Beck, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now, here's your host.
The Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns May 14th through 17th with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Bring Me the Horizon, and Shinedown. Plus, Pierce the Veil, Good Charlotte, The Offspring, Sublime, Godsmack, Breaking Benjamin, Marilyn Manson, and so many more. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at sonictemplefestival.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle, and we are going cross country with my new friends in the band Limberlost. What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, buddy? Glad to be here, man.
What's happening, bud?
Hey, it's going great.
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there. Yeah, glad to have you guys on here. Wanted to get into, I've been enjoying the music, getting ready for tonight. As I told Brittany, I don't mind the little blue haze in the back I was trying to get rid of. I think I'm going to be an extra in the Alien music video. So
we're going to have to redo them. We got new footage.
Yeah. It's the deleted scenes or whatever. I'll be in there. I'll be the extra. But usually when I have people on for the first time, I like to get a quick background. So I'll start with you, Brittany. Do you remember originally what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, a musician. Yeah, I've always wanted to be a singer. I don't know. I was 6 years old. I said that to my mom. I don't know. My whole life, that's all I wanted to do is music, and that's all I've done.
Nice.
Nice and easy.
And how about you?
Who are we talking to? You're up, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
I always wanted to be Pinocchio, but I wanted to negotiate a different body part to grow when I lied.
He almost got. You got Pinocchio.
I know. And then
you get what you asked for.
You get what you asked for.
Yeah. There you go.
No.
You wanted to be a real boy.
I wanted to be a real boy, but that didn't work out for me. But no, I think I wanted to be a fighter pilot. That was kind of what I wanted to be first. But I got the music bug pretty early. I was definitely infatuated with. We got a joiner.
No. Journey. Nice.
I was infatuated with the Beatles and the Stones and Led Zeppelin and all that growing up, and Terrible Ted. So yeah, I kind of got that bug early on. So everything kind of switched after I got into college. I was just like, nah, I don't want to do this. Let's go be a rock star.
Nice. And then how about you before you were Big Daddy, Steve?
Well, I was little Steve back then. I was 6 years old. My mom and dad brought me to go see Elvis Presley, and I was so blown away that I knew at 6 years old that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to play music and be an entertainer. And as things went on, I discovered other bands like Kiss was my next big influence. And once I was already into Elvis, and once I saw Kiss, and then I discovered Y&T and Whitesnake and all those type of bands, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm sold. This is all I'm going to do. And I've been pretty lucky because I graduated high school and answered an ad in the newspaper that needed a bass player with vocals, and I've been doing this ever since 2 weeks out of high school in 1988.
Nice. Yeah, Kiss was my gateway as well. So you said right out of high school you picked up a bass. What was like the scene like around that time where you grew up at?
Well, in those days when I was in high school, I played in the band all through high school. We used to rehearse in the same building in the same rooms as like Alice in Chains. Before they were Alice in Chains, they were called Diamond Lie and Phoenix, and so I kind of grew up in the area with those guys, and it was just always I just wanted to play shows, man. I wanted to play shows and get on the road. And, it's kind of cool because, now I'm one of the guys out of Seattle that made it a little bit later out of Seattle than all the other guys that made it before me,
Nice, nice. So, Inez?
What's that?
Inez?
I can't hear you, man.
Mike Inez from Alice in Chains.
I don't know them all personally. This was before they were even Alice in Chains. So this is, I don't even believe the same guys are in it anymore. Jerry Cantrell was like the leading force in the band. And like I said, when we used to rehearse with them, they were called, I think they started off as Phoenix and then they turned into Diamond Line. Maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember because it was, 100 years ago. But I knew the guys from back before they were rock stars.
Nice. And then what were some of the names of your early bands?
Of my early bands? Man, I played in a band called Legion. I played in a band called Tears, and then Naked Zoo, and then Wesley James, and then Metal Church, then Autograph, and now Limberlost. So I've been passed around like a party doll.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that. Did time with Metal Church and Autograph. I just wasn't sure, out of high school. It's like I always love hearing those band names out of high school that we think are like the best ideas at the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, all I wanted to do was not have a real job, have a job that I could travel and get chicks. So it was the perfect thing. You ended up with your $500 at the end of the week, and you partied every fucking night, and you saw a different town every week, and that was my life basically for the first 10 years after graduating high school.
Nice. And then Brittany, can you still hear me? All right.
Yes.
When was some of your earliest? When did you start performing?
My what?
When you start getting into music, performing music.
Oh my goodness! Hang on a second. I have a sad kid. So hang on a moment. I got into music early. I started with, I think, flute, and then I moved to piano pretty quickly. And that's initially what I studied. I was a double performance major in college with piano and voice. And so gosh, I'm trying to remember when my very first, I've been performing probably my whole life. That's all I've wanted to do. That's all I've felt really called to do was performing. So yeah, it's been a wild ride. Because
I read somewhere that you were even classically trained in opera. Uh-oh.
Oh boy, hang on a second here. So sorry. Yeah. Hey.
All right.
Got me back?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. My back? Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, I decided to pursue voice, and when I did that, really, what you can pursue is classical, and so I did. I did that, and I was good at it. I think I was winning awards, and then I ended up going to Italy, and I was singing his Fiordiligi and Così fan tutte, and it was very enlightening as to what I wanted to pursue, because I had more fun going into little like pubs and places that had piano and playing modern music and playing my music and pulling in people from the street. And I walked away from that. I joined a band in Seattle, and here we are.
Yeah, so let's talk about Limberlost coming together. Who's responsible for all that, or how'd you guys get together?
It's all Mike's
fault.
That's
Mike. Yeah, I'm gonna tag team him. I'm gonna hand Mike over, and we're in a tag team here.
I'm gonna take him out.
Yeah.
Oh,
You swap. You take the baby. He takes the phone.
yeah, here. Let's take.
Okay.
Here you go.
All right. All right. It's me now.
All right, Mike. So tell me how Limberlost came together.
Oh boy. Well, that's an interesting story. Basically, it was something that I kind of started back in the, I want to say it was like 2011. I came up with this idea that I wanted to form a band, and it actually started as a praise band. And I had the opportunity actually through one of my members of one of my initial praise bands to meet POD and Switchfoot. My bass player, guitar player was the uncle of one of the guys in POD. So I kind of got this bug that, oh wow, we could play heavy rock and still do positive methods things and stuff. This is cool. I'd like to do that. So that was kind of the whole intent of Limberlost originally. And then so I moved back to Washington, started putting the band together about 2011. We actually recorded our first song in 2016. We went through some member changes and stuff up to that point, but we got to where we had something that we could go into the studio, and we had several songs. So we started doing that, started performing live about that time. That was about the time I met little Devon Unger, because we had done a reunion show for my my old 80s bands, and Tin Circus, the band that Devon and his brother were in, opened up at that particular show. But anyway, I digress. And then 2018, we went through some membership changes again, and that's when we got Tony, our keyboard player, and the lovely Brittany. And then 2023, we went on tour with Yngwie over in Europe, and came back from that one and realized we needed to make a few more changes if we wanted to keep striking forward. And Brittany and I had these ideas of where we wanted to take the music, and we weren't quite lining up with some of the old membership. So we took a little bit of a break, wrote our album, Beautiful Scars, and then went out in the hunt for players. Paul Crosby, our manager, he basically said, well, I can find you players all day long. And I go, yeah, there's a guy out there in Seattle, though, that I've always wanted to, play with. His name's Devon. He's a good guitar player. I'm going to seek him out. I never in my wildest dreams thought that old Steve, the busiest man in show business, was going to want to play bass. But I ended up reaching out to Steve and, giving him the material to talk to Devon. Steve and I had known each other for, 15 years. And he listened to it and called me back a couple days later and said, well, I got to talk to Devon and stuff. He goes, I think I found you a bass player and a guitar player, and you're talking to him. So that's kind of how that all happened. And then Brittany was in college with Sammie, our other singer. So they had been following the opera path, and she was in a metal band up in Seattle. And so it just kind of all came together. It was quite cool. We one day didn't have a band, and like 3 weeks later we had this amazing band.
Now it's a family affair. That's awesome.
Yeah, kind of something like that. Yeah.
So I'm curious about the name. Like, what was the inspiration for the name Limberlost?
Well, it stemmed from this Viagra ad. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, we get asked this question so many times. You just got to start having fun with it. But no, actually, our first guitar player, Ricky, his grandmother used to call the woods out behind his house in Georgia, or her house in Georgia, the Limberlost. And that's where they'd send him to get a, switch off the tree to beat his ass with, or whatever. But, so he one day, I don't know, naming a band in today's world is like just insane, because, you come up with an idea and go, oh, that's cool. And then you Google search it and find out there's 15 other bands already calling themselves that. So, and he came in one day and said, well, how about Limberlost? And he started telling us about his story. And our old singer had read some book that was called The Girl of the Limberlost. So it kind of stuck. So we did a little homework on it and realized, well, there's actually some lore behind this name, that there was a swamp actually up in Indiana, not in Georgia, that where some guy got lost, and he was a townie called Limber Jim, and he went out there and got all lost one day and had been gone for quite a while. And I thought everybody thought he was dead. He thought he was dead. And one day he just prayed to a higher power and said, guide me, I'll do whatever it takes, blah, blah, blah. And there was a light in the sky, and he followed the light, walked in a straight line, and walked his ass out of the forest. So we kind of took that as a metaphor, basically, for what we're doing with our music. You know, we're playing music for people that, you know, need music to help you through whatever it is. I know growing up that every time I went through something, whether it be positive or negative, there was always a soundtrack, and it was the bands that I was listening to, and we just want to, you know, that's kind of what we want to do. We want to be that soundtrack, and you know, and so we tend to not sing about silly stuff. We kind of have, there's messages in there, but they're metaphorical because we want you to put your own, you know, your own spin on things, your own meaning to it, you know, because then it becomes more personal. So that's, and so the Limberlost thing kind of came along, and there was some lore to that. So we call our fans the Lost Ones, and, you know, hopefully they don't get lost in the swamp.
Nice. Yeah, I had a guy on last night, and we started talking and got into like our faith and everything that we shared, and just like, you know, how God can use anything to speak to us if we're open to it. And music's always been, like you said, something for me as well that has spoken to me when I needed to hear a message, you know. And it's you know, great that you guys are trying to be that light for the lost as well.
Yeah, well, and you know, the thing is too is that, you know, there's a big ass world out there. Not everybody thinks the same, and not everybody believes the same, and you know what? That's okay. We just want to play music, you know, and then let that fall into the cups that everybody puts for themselves to be in. Let it fall into the cups as it will, you know. We aren't pitching our ping pong ball in any particular cup right now, you know what I'm saying? It's just, we're putting it out there and hoping that it finds people where they are, you know. Yeah,
exactly. Well, let's talk about your single "Give It to Me." It's like the reboot here, I guess. Can you share a little bit about what the message is behind that song?
Yeah, it's actually one that I wrote the lyrics to, but it was a song I wrote back in 2023. As we were kind of rebranding a little bit back then too, and it's really designed to have kind of a feminine, testosterone driven kind of message, you know. And it's you know, think of Amazon women, you know, coming and taking over the world kind of feel, you know. And the fun thing about that song is that we kind of rushed it through production in 23 because we had this tour with Yngwie coming up, and this gave us we wanted something we could put out over there, you know, that we could release over there in the UK and in the EU, and maybe get some airtime, you know, get some interviews, you know, get some spins over there and stuff before we came over, so we could get a little bit more, little more traction, you know. So, you know, we know Yngwie was going to pack the joints, but, you know, it'd be nice if there were some Limberlost shirts in the crowd. That'd be cool, you know. So we kind of pushed it, and but we decided to whitelist it in the Western Hemisphere. So it's never actually been released over here in the United States and in Canada and so forth. So, but then when we got back and realized we were going to make some changes and stuff, it kind of just sat in this weird spot, because like, do we put it out if we're not moving forward with this band the way we are, you know? So I just kind of sat there, and then we wrote Beautiful Scars, retooled the band, got this new sound, and then all of a sudden we're sitting here with this next EP billing, and we're looking for the last couple singles on it. And we realized we already had one written, and we're like, you know, we just need to reboot this song. We just need to retool it with our sound today. And, you know, with the type of players we have today, we just need to put that sound to it. And then we release it over here. So that's what you got. You basically got we call it the redo, but it's, you know, it's the same song, but it's done dramatically. It's got a much more dramatic sound and soundscape, I would say, and feel to it than the original did.
Nice. And then Steve, when Mike had reached out to get your son Devon in the band, and then you came along with him, had you ever played in a band with your son before, or is this the first time?
No, I was actually when both my boys were growing up, the name of their band was Tin Circus, and they were like way ahead of other kids their age, musically anyway. And they couldn't find a bass player that was, you know, could barely get his bass out of the case, let alone tune it, and, you know, let alone actually play along with what they were doing at the level they were doing. So I actually was their bass player until, they kept auditioning kids over and over again. Guy. And after a while, my youngest son, Derek, who is the lead singer of the band, he's like, well, Dad, why don't I just do what you do? I'll play bass and lead sing. And I'm like, there's no reason you can't do that. So he took up the bass and he started playing. And next thing you know, he's better than me. So I'm like, fuck, I'm out of a job now. Yeah. Okay. I taught him a few things, and then he just took over. And that's kind of the way my kid is. He gets into things, he sinks his teeth into it, and then he's better than the person that taught him how to do it. So, but I knew I wasn't going to be the bass player for the band. I was just there until somebody would take the place of it. So I played with both of my kids for a lot of time with Tin Circus, and then I have another show that I do. It's called The King Alive in '85. It's the Elvis show that never was. If you would have lived into the '80s, what would it be like? And my son Devon is a guitar player for that as well. So we play together all the time, and now we're together in Limberlost, and it's nothing cooler than looking over on the other side of the stage and just watching my kid just rip the shit out of a guitar, and people at the end of the shows and everything are like, oh damn, who's that guitar player? Oh my god, that kid's he's badass. Like, yeah, I made him.
Nice.
I started him off in the right direction. Just took the ball and ran with it.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what we all want for our kids to,
Absolutely.
surpass us and everything we do, man?
Absolutely. Yeah, people are always asking. They're like, "What are you going to do when your son goes further than you did?" And I'm like, "Celebrate." Why would any dad have a problem with their kids doing better than they did? I don't know, but.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. But yeah, so it's been really cool though to be out there and share the stage with them in this project then, huh?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah.
And just, like I say, just looking over on the other side of the stage and watching them just tear shit up. And I just, I got a sense of pride within myself when I look over and I'm smiling. And not everybody even knows why, they're just like, man, he just must be having a great time up there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm having a good time up here. But then I'm also looking over the other side of the stage and going, I'm having a really good time up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
My kid just shredded that solo, and he's, girls are screaming at him. It's all good.
Yeah.
Nice.
My voice on all the chicks.
Nice. And then Mike, like when when you got the final pieces, I guess, together as you do now, what has been like one of your proudest achievements so far, seeing where Limberlost is at?
Well, that's a loaded question. At the end of the day, the key is to never think you've gotten where you want to be. You want to keep climbing and keep clawing and be hungry and hustle. That's kind of where I'm at with stuff. But I'm just really excited to see where the brand has gone over the years. It was very, sitting here with my brother Steve on an interview. I mean, year and a half ago, that wasn't a thought, and the fact that we were able to create a situation in the music and also the environment, that attracted him, and that he thought that, that he thinks it's good enough that he'd want to be a part of it. That's a proud moment, because Steve's, he's got lots of opportunity out there. There's probably 100 bands that would hire Steve in a heartbeat, so it's pretty exciting to see my rhythm section develop into what it has. And then, like I said, his son, I think those things in and of themselves, that I don't want to rest on it at all, but I think that the fact that we've been able to write and deliver music that has inspired other players to want to be a part of this project is pretty good. The other thing is just the relationships, that we continue to be able to create. This is not an easy business. It's a business that's designed to, bend you over and then kick you out when it's done. It's really, and it gets worse every day, and the fact that we've been able to maintain ourselves as an independent and continue to grow within it and create good relationships with people and leave a good taste in people's mouth. I'm pretty proud of that, considering I was told that I couldn't do any of the things that we've done, early on. So
nice. Now, I was listening to some of the other songs in the catalog, and one that I really enjoyed, the "Me I Am Afraid Of" song. Can you share a little bit about the message behind that song?
Well, that's a real interesting deal there, because our old lead singer came into the room probably 4 years ago, and she had this little poem she'd written, and she had and it was very Baroque style, and it was, "This is where I find out what I am made of. This is where I face the me I am afraid of." And she went into this whole thing with it, and as I do when somebody brings something in the room and it goes nowhere, then I start thinking about, well, what would I do with it? So I actually rewrote the whole song. It's the song you hear on the radio, on the album, and brought it back. And she was like, "Nah, I don't know. I don't like it." And so it just sat in a can for probably 2 years. And then when we decided to move forward with the project, and she decided she wasn't going to move on with the project. I told her straight up that I was going to release that song. And, I gave her a little bit of the credit because she came up with that one tagline, but the rest, the whole entire rest song, the melody, everything is different than what she had. But that's where that song kind of started. And for me, it was part of that, where you face the demons that you think are going to hold you back. That you are probably your own worst enemy, I think, is the message of the "Me I Am Afraid Of." When you say, yeah. Brittany's back.
Brittany's back. All right. Yeah, that is. That's why I connected to it. Because it's like that's, something I battle with every day. Is the person in the mirror usually. I start the day like, all right, you might beat me tomorrow, but you ain't gonna beat me today. One of those types of things. So that's why. That's why I connected with that song. And then what about let's talk about Alien. As I was joking, because I got the blue and everything haze in the back, but I really enjoyed the music video for that as well. But you want to talk a little bit about the message in that song?
Ooh, well, it's pretty on the nose. I went down that alien rabbit hole, as you do, and you get into it, and you end up watching all the documentaries and joining MUFON and meeting Nick Pope and Giorgio Tsoukalos, and you get down that road, So it actually did start with Ancient Aliens, and it ended on a book, and it was it's a lot of fun. So that song is definitely an ode to that journey that I went on, but it's also, as the song was writing itself, because that's kind of how I feel it. As the song was writing itself, it also was kind of an ode to dysmorphia or dysphoria. That's what it is. Dysphoria, where where that feeling of not feeling who you are, or not feeling right in the body that you were born in. And so it's definitely got a lot of messages to attach to very simple words. Don't you feel just a little bit alien? And doesn't it seem to make a little bit of sense?
Oh yeah. It's funny because I'm in recovery, and I hear that a lot, and I've shared that in some of the rooms I've been in. It's just like sometimes we just don't feel like we belong in the skin that we're in, and we would do things to kind of like numb or feel comfortable, and so I can definitely relate to that. And it's cool because I've had a lot of musicians on here too that are big Ancient Alien fans as well. And I had I just had this researcher on who was like a former Marine pilot and officer who had some encounters, and he shared on my podcast about that. And I knew I was having him on. So one of my previous guests who I'd become friends with, Rich Badeau, he's a drummer. He was original drummer for Finger 11. He's like, "Can I be on that episode so I can ask some questions?" I was like, "Hell yeah, brother." So, it was cool getting some musicians on here with me asking alien questions.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
And I liked in the music video though too, the end there was like I don't know, was there like a telepathic or something? What was going on? The connection between the women there at the end, you know, kind of.
You picked up on it. You got it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was cool, man. I like that.
Cool. Thank you.
And then, now I don't know, because like I already mentioned one song that was like previous members and stuff, but the Jolene cover, the Dolly Parton cover, who was that, and who chose that?
Oh God.
That a long time ago. I think that was the band came together, and maybe Ben brought that in the room. Someone brought that in the room, and initially the Ricky, yeah, so it was a prior member brought it in the room, and then they created such an interesting introduction to it that decided to license it. And that was one of the very first songs I was ever on with Limberlost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been the first.
It might have been the very first. Actually, it might have been the very first song I was on with Limberlost.
Yeah.
Well, you did an amazing job. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, and the lead was Crystal. I was harmonies on that one.
Yeah, one of the first things hey, are we playing Jolene? And they were like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, we should definitely play that song, because they definitely kicked ass on it. I've seen them live a few times, years before I was in the band, and I was just like blown away at that song. I was like, holy shit. It took Dolly Parton, it took it to a whole nother level. It was awesome.
Yeah. No, it was really good. I like a good cover song, man. And then
you're gonna like one of the next ones we're about to release here in the next 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it.
A very new cover that we just finished. Yeah,
a Beatles song.
It's a Beatles song. Yeah.
Nice. I'll be keeping my eye out for that. Maybe I'm sure Shauna will keep me in the loop when that comes out. So I wanted to ask too about you mentioned Beautiful Scars already. That album, what was the reasoning for picking that song name or that album title?
Well, yeah, I don't want her to miss out on this, because this is mostly Brittany. We wrote a song called Beautiful Scars, and I think it kind of developed out of that as we were writing.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was it started with we were writing a song taking on the Japanese art form of kintsugi, which is when pottery or like a plate is broken, it would be repaired with gold. And the idea is that the thing is now more beautiful because it was once broken. And so to take this on, kind of like how humans, we were born, we're perfect, and then we go through shit and we get scars, and they're emotional and they're also physical, you know what I mean? And we tend to make these mean very negative things, but what if we adopted that into a human and we said that all of our scars are what actually make us more beautiful? So we started with one song that was Beautiful Scars, but then we kind of took it as like, this is a concept, really. This is a bigger concept than a single song that we can put it in. And we started to kind of put it into a whole bunch of different songs. And there were songs that had already been written that we were like, oh, that fits this theme. And yeah, this makes sense. And so we sort of put this concept together, and that's what we ended up with. It's a journey of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and then empowerment in the end.
And what's funny about that is we actually lived it out.
And then we did.
Then we lived it ourselves, because you got to be careful what you put into the universe, because the universe has got a sense of humor. So literally, we were talking about all this. Oh, this is great, and then all of a sudden, boom! Limberlost shattered on the ground, and it was just the two of us, and we were like, and then we put it back together, and we think we did a very good kintsugi. And put it back, and it's more beautiful now and more stronger than it was before. So, but we had to live through that ourselves. So it was a very timely thing. Yep. It had a lot of meaning for us, which helps with the why. It helps you drive. It helps you push through the BS. So anyway,
yeah. So then, Villain, which is you guys are putting together now, right? That's the EP on the way.
Yeah, that EP's actually finished. But instead of doing what we did with Beautiful Scars, Beautiful Scars was dropped as a one. We did one single, and then like 4 weeks later, we dropped the whole album. Partially because, as most people would do, is if they heard the song Alien and go, wow, this is really good, or I really like this band, the only thing they were going to have to go listen to was our back catalog, which is nothing wrong with our back catalog. It just didn't represent what we were doing moving forward. And it certainly doesn't sound like what we are today. So we made a command decision after many conversations with management and some radio people and all that, to just say, no, we're not going to do the single thing. We're going to drop it all at once, and then we'll push some of the singles on it, which we did. And this time, Villain is kind of now we've discovered ourselves. Now we're owning ourselves. And so the story of Villain is that, I'm who I am, and if I have to be the villain of your story, then so be it. So that's kind of the push. Give it to me is that is that taking what you believe is yours. I'm not gonna have to take it because you're gonna give it to me. We're just gonna do what we got to do. So Villain's done, but now we're releasing it in singles. So we're gonna drop a single probably every 8 to 10 weeks this year, and then the very last of the 6 will drop as the EP. So that'll come sometime later this year, whenever the gurus. We met with our radio guy this morning, and we're putting our plan together for releases and radio pushes and stuff like that. So we listen to our team, which is very important these days. So we've got a plan. But yeah, you'll see a bunch of different singles come out. But Villain is actually this is her brainchild, and she wrote that song, and it has a lot of meaning for her. And that'll be it's the whatever you want to call it, the title song.
Yeah. Tell me about your brainchild then. The title track Villain. What was the inspiration for that?
Well, hang on. I'm choosing my words. Okay. Well, it's a continuation off of Beautiful Scars. So Beautiful Scars is where you look at you have that internal reflection, and then acceptance, and then empowerment. And this takes it to the next level, where you also accept the story that you have become in other people's stories. You accept the version of you that exists in other people's stories too. Fine, you're going to make me the villain, then I am the villain in your story. Fine, I own that. So that's what that song is about. That's I'll be the villain of the story in your head. So sometimes we are who we are, especially people who are trying to make a path and forge a movement, people who are trying to beget inspiration. Sometimes you rub people the wrong way, or you know what I mean? It just is what it is. Or people decide they don't like you. It is what it is, So rather than placating to that, or turning back to the beginning of Beautiful Scars into that internal reflection of, oh no, and who is me, and blah, 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 blah. It's like you're past that. You already know who you are and what you stand for, and where you're at in the world. And other people are going to create whatever story they're going to create that has nothing to do with you. So go ahead, be the villain.
Nice. Now, is all the songs that have been created for Villain, is that everybody, that the current iteration of Limberlost, everybody's contributed, like Big Daddy Steve here?
This is everything's built around this band now.
He gives the final say, really.
Yeah.
We send him the stuff.
He rubs some limber lube on it, and we're good to go.
And then he lets us know if the gopher came out or not.
Yeah. Punks is Tawny Steve.
Nice.
It's actually a great thing here, just because of the rise of technology. It makes it so much easier to create and produce music, so that we can really focus ourselves and our band on the live shows and getting together and getting that all done. And so the recording of the songs is really just, it's a piece that we do, and I think we're doing it really well, but it's something that we do so that we can go out and perform live. Every song on our album is done with a stage show in mind. Sugar was written because I wanted to have a song where there was a call and response where the crowd would start saying sugar when I told them to. And that's how that song came out. You know, so with all of them have movement and presence and stage presence. So they're really written to do that. Yeah. And we're excited to be going out there.
Well, like she brings up, Villain and Sugar actually were the first two songs written for this EP, and we actually wrote them literally right before we released Beautiful Scars. So, because Beautiful Scars was completed back in December, November.
Yeah, I think we even considered putting Villain on Beautiful Scars, but we realized like it's really the next chapter.
The next chapter, yeah. So we held it back, but then as we got together with the band and we started rehearsing for tour and stuff, you go, we got a couple new songs here that we've been working on, and so we brought those into the room, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, these good," so.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. See, that's what I'm saying. Steve is the one, the final call. He's like, Villain, yeah.
And and so we brought those into the room, and we actually took those out on tour last year. So those have actually been played live quite a bit already.
Yeah, they have.
And we've gotten very good responses from crowds and stuff. And so I think
Sugar got great response.
I think there's going to be 1, 2, 3 songs, because we did reprise another song. Our next song that's coming out is an actual reprise of Volume 1. Our very first time. So we're going to have 3 songs on this EP that people will not have heard before, but there's 3 songs on it that have been out and about.
Well, since we did this Give It To Me, which I don't know if you got into the story of that a little bit, how we had done a version, but then before releasing it, it didn't make sense to release it in the US at the time because most of the members that were in that version were no longer with the band. So it didn't seem to represent the band anymore. So we decided to remix that one and re-record a lot of it as well. Like a lot of it, almost all of it. We reproduced it. So it ended up going through a lot of change. And, everything we've done before, we really hold dearly and we love it. You know what I mean? The only song, and I'm the one who brought it back, because every time when we had talked to our radio people for a long time, this one always came up as do it, but then it got old. It was already released. It was already put out. It was old. And I'm like, after we did this Give It To Me, like I hear something fresh with Babylon. Let me play with it. Let me play with it. And so I did. And that was, I was, that's as it goes. Tony flew his parts into me, and we put it all together. And now I think it's going to be the next one on the radio. We'll see. They're pretty excited about it and where it turned out. And so, we're not going to go back and do that with all of our songs, but this one called to us because I don't feel like it got the radio attention it deserved.
Right.
And so we decided to remix it so that it can have that light shine back on it.
And it's still got a real relevant message.
My God.
I actually wrote this song in 2015.
It could have been written to, you know what I mean? The lyrics are just so poignant.
And, and like she said, we just kept going down, we'd send our music in, and, the radio guy would say, I think it should be this one. And we're like, but we really like this one, because that was the newest one we had in front of us. And it doesn't make sense to put our, we had members who would say, why does it make sense to do a song we released 2 years ago, and put money behind
the radio guy is saying to do that one.
The guy that knows what he's talking about. But yeah, screw that. You're right. So we so it was kind of natural, and I'm glad she did. I'm glad she pushed the issue with me on it, because it was kind of one of those things where I've never felt satisfied with where we took that song either. So so it was really nice when she said, yeah, I want to dick with this. And
I heard it as this. I wanted it to be like a fevered dream, and it ended up adding we added a bit of a heart monitor. So oh my goodness, it is just a phenomenal track. You guys definitely have to
it's fun.
Keep an eye out for that one. It is just unreal.
It'll be reduced. I think it's the end of March.
It's gonna make you feel like you're in this just insane fever dream, and you wake up in this hospital. I don't know what to say. You're just gonna, like, you've never heard a song be able to take you there before. I guarantee you, it's pretty awesome.
Awesome. And then you mentioned, how you guys have been working with Paul Crosby of Saliva. How did that relationship come together for you?
Oh man, that's we kind of joke around, and I don't even know if this story's as true as I make it out to be anymore. But back in 2018, I got that rock star moment, the movie Rockstar, where Mark Wahlberg's up in his bedroom and the phone rings downstairs. His mom yells at him, and he comes running down. He picks up the phone and says, "Hello," and he goes, "Hey, this is Cuddy, the Steel Dragon." He goes, "Yeah," and he hangs up on him, right? Well, that's pretty much what happened with me and Paul. I got a call saying, "Hi, this is Paul Crosby, the drummer from Saliva," and I'm like, "Shit!" Click, and then he called back. He called right back and stuff, and we ended up talking and stuff, and it was quite interesting because that's all I knew him of, as being the drummer of Saliva, Click Click Boom and all that, and I was not aware that he had a desire to manage bands, and so we were one of the very first 2 or 3 bands that he signed, and that was back in 2018. One of the bands he signed was a band called Solidify out of Oklahoma. They broke up eventually. But the other band that he signed, I think right about the same time as us, a band called Silent Theory, and they are doing very well. They've actually have a phenomenal record deal with 1RPM, and they've been playing all the Wimmer festivals, and it looks like they're getting their first gold record here pretty soon and stuff. So we stuck. We were one of the first 2, and we stuck. But yeah, so then over time it just became, Paul and I just became really good friends, and it because as an independent and a person that I am, where I don't take no for an answer. I learned how to do a lot of stuff to promote my band and move my band forward, and work the algorithms and do the stuff that people just weren't able to figure out. There was no path for that, and if anybody did figure crap out, they either wanted to charge you up the yin-yang for it, or they weren't willing to share it with you. So so as I developed certain talents within those realms, those became valuable to Paul and his business. So I kind of support his, or both of us actually now, we both do things for Crosby Management, that help other artists, whether it's marketing stuff or whether it's, pushing stuff, YouTube stuff, or, Facebook ads and stuff like that. We do a lot of that stuff behind the scenes for the whole Paul Crosby network. So yeah, but then Paul, like Steve and I, man, I mean, Steve and I are pretty much the same guy, when it comes to sense of humor.
God.
I mean, we're just like, you just wouldn't want to be in a dark room with both of us and fall asleep. And Paul's pretty much that same guy too. So
Wow.
It's just like, wow, it's just like, you kind of attract to you what you are, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I caught the connection with you and Steve with the Viagra commercial comment, and I knew I was with the right people today. Paul's just a great guy. I mean, he's got all kinds of really cool stuff going on. And he's a guy that's been to the mountaintop. He's done all the things we want to do. So I mean, and he's a very honest individual and very forthright. And, sometimes he'll tell me stuff I don't want to hear, but then there's times where him and I agree on things, it's a good mentorship relationship, and it's also a good friendship. Yeah. Tracy and him have had us into their home several times. Even watched our youngin', Uncle Paul, we went to meet the alien guys, so I mean, it's, he's just a really good guy. We are very happy with our relationship with him. Yeah, usually the best relationships are the most honest, so, if they didn't care about you, they wouldn't, tell you sometimes what you don't want to hear, but need to hear, I know that.
Oh yeah, he definitely is that guy.
He's called us out a couple times, like, nope, this is stupid.
But it's dumb.
He does. He was like, you can do this. All I'm saying is you'd be dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, boss man.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's a great relationship.
So you kind of mentioned the plans for, the releasing of a couple singles before Villain comes out. What's the plan for taking the show on the road? What do you guys got planned?
Take it there, Steve.
Global domination.
Global domination. Well, I've said this on a couple other interviews, and just in all honesty, we kind of thought we'd be in a little better space with booking agents and stuff by this time, and some of those things have not The universe hasn't connected us in those areas like we thought we would. So we're a little slow out of the mark, but we do have some really good shows coming up. It's just the kind of stuff, because they are such big shows, and they're later in the year, and we're not the biggest name on those bills. We can't talk about them, yet. So we can't put them up on our website stuff. But we are working on some stuff. We're hoping to get out in May. There was a lot of little nuggets thrown at us that we've been kind of waiting to see what was going to come together and what hasn't. I got one of those solidified this week, so now I kind of know where I'm going in that direction. But we're hoping to get back down to the Southeast. We've got some stuff going on in the Pacific Northwest later in the year. And of course, we're going to go out and, crush the Sturgis area for 2 to 3 weeks during the Bike Fest. So, that's what we've got on the docket so far. And then we're just looking for that right tour to work with. I think at the level we're at, it's kind of stupid for us to get in a van and just run around and, make noise. I think we need to link up with somebody that's got some cool stuff going on and be a part of that. So that's kind of what we're searching for right now.
Nice. And hopefully you'll catch you on some of those Wimmer festivals like Silent Theory.
Yeah, you're the second guy in the last 2 days or 3 days that's brought that up, and I think if Danny's listening or any of his Space Zebra guys are listening, give us a holler. Do it. Take us. You won't be disappointed.
Do it.
But we'd love Louder Than Life. Aftershock would be great.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Mitch from Silent Theory yesterday, and he said, Louder Than Life was a trip, man. And I think they played Incarceration and Louder Than Life last year. He said both of those are awesome. And I know Steve's probably experienced all that stuff, but that's kind of the targets we're shooting for, some of those bigger stages. And we've got some other crap out there in the wings. We're hoping it comes together, maybe a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nice.
we're gonna hit the ground running. We've got a lot of fans, especially coming out of Beautiful Scars. We sold a lot of albums around the country.
It was awesome.
There's a lot of new fans, and we definitely need to get out and touch those folks appropriately.
I'm pretty lucky. We got a couple of the Wimmer festivals within driving distance for me here. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, so we get Incarceration's an hour drive, and then Sonic Temple's like a 2-hour drive, and then maybe I even have gone to Louder, and that's like a little over a 3-hour drive, almost 4-hour drive. So so there's like 3 of them right there that I get to enjoy. Man, love to see you guys on those. Incarceration's definitely a good time. I highly recommend. We'll love to see you guys there with the whole Shawshank Redemption.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
But,
we would definitely not say no.
All right. Well, I hopefully they've been known to watch this show, so I've had a lot of their people through here before, so hopefully they're listening. They'll catch this one. And then before we get ready to wrap up, I wanted to ask you guys real quick, like, any message that you guys have for our military members currently serving overseas?
Wow.
All I can say is thank you. You got bigger balls than I do.
Yeah, we appreciate you. You're the reason we get to do what we do, because you sit on those fences and allow us to do these things and not worry about what a lot of other countries have to worry about. So much thanks. It's selfless, and I drive that we will treat you well when you come back.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your sacrifice, and just thank you. And I hope that, as Mike says, I hope that I know that in America hasn't always had the greatest history with treating its vets. I hope that changes. So,
absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, well, it was awesome talking with you guys. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully it catch you through the Cleveland area at some point. Now, for any fans out there that might be new to hearing about Limberlost and want to check out, what's going on with you guys, where would you send them?
Well, we have our website's a great place to start, limberlostmusic.com. You can kind of dive down every rat hole from there, but we are on every social media platform, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. we have a store, which has been called the Walmart of rock and roll on our thing, because I think we got like 200 and some items on there, including Steve's refreshing limber lube.
Baby.
But I joke, but at the same time, the store is actually the best way to support us, outside of coming to shows, of course. But it's great when the social media stuff, we love all that. But if you go to our website and you download this new single, Give It to Me, for, I think it's $1.29. So I think it's under $1.50 out the door with tax, depending on where you live. That one act right there does more for us than just about anything you could do, because you would literally have to listen to that song 2 to 3 times a day for 365 days for us to maybe get that back in a royalty check after we've paid all the other hands that got to touch it. So in that one act of just downloading our song, you could really help an independent band. We wouldn't need if half of our social media fans would just download our singles when they come out for $1.50, we would never need a record label.
Awesome. You hear that, people? Get on it.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, guy, thank you so much for the time. It was great talking with you, and like I said, hope to catch you when you come through the area sometime.
As Yngwie Malmsteen once said, oh, go ahead, Steve.
I just want to say thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, perfect. As Yngwie Malmsteen said to me in the stairwell of the what was the Mandela Ballroom in Belfast, Ireland, as he walked down and we weren't supposed to talk to him, he made eye contact and went, "Cleveland," and then walked right back. I have no idea what that meant, but you're in Cleveland, so hopefully it connects.
Nice. Love it.
It's the only word he ever said to me on that whole tour, by the way. Anyway.
I've heard stories. Good to know that he has a soft spot for Cleveland.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on, man.
All right! Listen up! Hold on to your seats. Grab your girls, grab your beers.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelt.